हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, दंडवत प्रणाम।
प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
रविंद्र प्रभु हरे कृष्ण, दंडवत प्रणाम। Okay, maybe we can begin. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरंगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वर। Okay, this is where we ended last time, chanting in different ages. In Satya Yoga, in Treta Yoga, in Dwapar Yoga, in Kali Yoga, chanting has been there in all ages. Now, there are three ways of chanting. One can chant in the mind, manasa. One can chant with the lips, upamsa, like, or maybe the mouth is closed but the lips are moving. Or manasa is like mouth is closed and the lips are also not moving, but only the mind is chanting. And then vachik. Mm, mm, okay. Actually, the purpose of vachik and upamsa is also to l- get the mind to chant. The benefit comes when the mind starts chanting. Sometimes vachik is there, upamsa is there, but manasa is not there. Best is vachik, it contains all three. We will see. Uh, this is some spiritual quotes. Loud chanting is 1,000 times better than silent chanting. Naradiya Puran. The chanting of God name should be chanted loudly. Jiva Goswami in Krama Sandarbha. So here we see our Goswamis um, preferring loud chanting. If one chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly, Krishna personally dances on the tongue. Stavamala. Um, Vibhushan Bhasya by Baldev Vidyabhushan. So some scriptural references on loud chanting. Then there are three main potencies of Krishna. Um, Chit Vaibhav, Achit Vaibhav, Jiva Vaibhav. Um, Chit Vaibhav is internal potencies. Like Krishna has three potencies. We may have heard by the name Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatasta Shakti. Antaranga Shakti is Chitta Vaibhav, Antaranga or internal potency of Krishna. Then Bahiranga Shakti is Achit, Achit Vaibhav. Vaibhav is potencies, Achit Vaibhav. Bahiranga Shakti is Maya. Then Jiva Shakti, Jiva Vaibhav is tatasta, marginal potency, Jiva Shakti. Um, chant now within Antaranga Shakti, Chit Vaibhav, there is three potencies: Sandhini, Sambit, and Haladini. Sandhini is the um, um, like these are the three energies of Krishna, and three internal energies of Krishna. By Sandhini potency, Krishna creates. All the universes are Sandhini potencies. Even Golok Vrindavan is Sandhini potency. The spiritual world is Sandhini potency, or the physically what exists that Krishna can create. That is Sandhini potency. Samvit potency is knowledge potency. How Krishna is all knowing. Krishna knows um, everything, and that is because of his Samvit potency. He knows past, present, future. And Haladini potency is his pleasure potency. How Krishna enjoys through his Haladini potency. So the holy name contains all these potencies. Holy name contains the knowledge potency, holy name contains the dham potency, and holy name contains the pleasure potency. So when we chant the holy name, um, knowledge will come to us, the realizations will come to us, that is samvit, and then we may be able to, as we progress, go to Vrindavan in our chanting, go to Dham. That is Sandhini potency. That is also within the holy name. The Dham is there, the knowledge is there, and Haladini potency is the pleasure potency, which nourishes our heart. So we are nourished, and we can be in the Dham, and we can get realization of our spiritual form, our relationship, and everything about us. That knowledge is within the holy name. Our Prabhupada said perfection of life is to know our relationship with Krishna and our service with Krishna. When we fully identify ourselves, that is Sambit potency. That knowledge is there within the holy name. Um, One time, one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how will I know my eternal Swarup, my relationship with Krishna? And Prabhupada said, I will come and tell you, or the holy name will reveal to you. So even the holy name has a potency to reveal you your spiritual identity and relationship with Krishna. That knowledge is there. The dham is there, uh, Vrindavan dham, and the pleasure potency is there, and the holy name can give you all these things, because holy name, like we saw, abhinna nama namitvam, the holy name of Krishna and Krishna is non-different. Because Krishna and holy name is non-different, all the potencies of Krishna are within the holy name. And something Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said with regard to this, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktish. And Nija Sarva Shaktish is all the potencies of Krishna are invested within the name of Krishna. So um, all this potency. Now Maya potency is also there within Krishna, and how that helps us is when we are chanting the holy names, whatever material desires we have, or whatever wrong thing we have done out of the influence of Maya Shakti, that will be emitted out, that will come out. Um, um, that even that realization will come about how Maya is capturing me, where I am going wrong. A person who is not chanting the holy name will not be able to understand, although working under the grip of Maya, will not be able to understand how he is working under grip of Maya. But a person who is chanting the holy name will be able to identify that, because Achit Vaibhav is also there. So all the potencies of Krishna are within the holy name. Based on our deepness, we can access all this understanding. In bhakti, the way and the goal are the same. Krishna's holy name is the way, but it is also the goal, Krishna himself. The goal of chanting Hare Krishna is to attain Krishna. And since the name Abhinna Nama Namitvam, since the name and Krishna are non-different, the means, which is chanting the holy name, and the goal, which is Krishna, since they are non-different, the way and the goal is the same. And there is a story of a beggar to who went to a king to see gold. So the king took him to the treasury, and this beggar has never seen gold, um, never. But he has heard a lot about gold. So he had a desire. I want to see gold at least once. How does it look? How does it feel? I've heard a lot about it. So he went to the king and asked, "Can you show me your treasury? I want to see lot of gold." The king said, "All right." So the king took him to the treasury department, the treasury house, and the gate opened. And then he went down, then he came up. Another gate, locked by few soldiers, that gate opened. He went down and up, and then the third gate. So he kept on walking, 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 and there were seven gates, and um, lot of security. And then when finally he opened the seventh gate, and when he went inside, then there was lot of gold. It was like gold slabs. The whole godown was filled with gold slabs. And then when he came out, then he saw that the steps on which he was walking were also made of gold. And then he saw the walls were also made of gold. And then he saw that the gates were also made of gold. So then he realized that once I enter the treasury house, everything in treasury house was also made of gold. That's why it was the treasury house. But he realized, um, after he actually saw gold, till that time he didn't realize that I was walking on gold and I was dealing with gold. So, likewise, the holy name. When we come to realize Krishna on a very advanced platform, then we can realize that actually throughout my journey from day one, I was personally associating with Krishna, but I never realized that I was personally with Krishna through the holy name. My whole journey was with Krishna. But once he sees Krishna, once he realizes Krishna, and when he look back, then he realized, oh, I was with Krishna all the time. So the means on which we are walking and the goal, Krishna, they are the same. Then Krishna has principal and primary. Principal is primary and secondary names. Principal name Mukhya and Gaunya. Mukhya name are primary names of Krishna. They are related to Krishna's pastimes and Krishna's devotees. These names are like Krishna, Govinda, Gopal, Ram, Gopinath, Gopijana Vallabha. These are Mukhya names. They refer to Krishna in his eternal pastimes with his devotees in the spiritual world. Um, like Govinda is one who takes care of cows. Um, Govinda also means one who satisfies all of one's senses. Krishna has the potency. Krishna is called Govinda because the devotee who associate with Krishna, all his senses are also satisfied. Eyes, tongue, um, ear, sense of touch, all the senses are satisfied. That's why he's called Govinda. Um, Krishna because he's blackish in color and he's all attractive. And yeah, many meanings of Krishna are there. He terminates one's cycle of birth and death. Um, Gopal, he takes care of cows. Pal means protector, maintainer. Gopal. Rama, he gives pleasure to Srimati Radharani. Rama. Gopinath, he is the lord of the gopis. So Gopinath. And Gopi Jana Vallabha, he is very dear to the gopis. Very dear. Our deity's name is Gopi Jana Vallabha. They refer to Krishna in his eternal pastimes with his devotees in spiritual. These are called primary names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, the Lord has invested all his energies in these names like Krishna and Govinda. Prabhupada translates it like that, like Krishna and Govinda. So all these names have the potency. In fact, there is a devotee Bilba Mangal Thakur. If you have heard about him, he was attracted to a prostitute. Prostitute. Uh, his his spiritual master Somgiri from previous life speak to that prostitute one night that the amount of attraction you have for me and your longing and your desire to enjoy me, and your effort you are putting to be with me, if you have put that energy to be with Krishna, by now you have attained Krishna. And that was like a great shock and realization for Bilba Mangal. And Bilba Mangal realized that yeah, that is true. I'm putting so much energy and enthusiasm and excitement, everything, to meet this prostitute. If I have directed that towards meeting with Krishna, towards hearing about Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, then by now I may have attained Krishna. So he developed that renunciation, and then he left for Vrindavan. And his spiritual master in the previous life initiated him with the Gopal mantra, and that contains the primary names of Krishna. In fact, when we chant Gayatri, the Guru gives us one of the mantra in Gayatri is a Gopal mantra. That Gopal mantra contains three primary names of Krishna, and they contains all the potencies of Krishna. Um, um, so all these names of Krishna have the potency. Yet why we that's why we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because it was given in the scriptures and propagated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But all the names of Krishna are non-different because Krishna is transcendental spiritual. All his names have all those transcendental potencies, and there are many references. Brahma was initiated by Krishna through his flute into the Gopal mantra. Brahma also chanted primary names of Krishna, and that's how he got the potency to create. Um, so there are many instances where even other primary names of Krishna deliver the devotees and get them into the same ecstasies. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nam Nam Akari. Akari means all different kinds of names. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. All the transcendental potencies are invested within all the names of Krishna. um, Primary names. Secondary names are characterizes his relationship with the material world, like Paramatma. It's does that name doesn't exist in spiritual world. It's a Paramatma exists only in material world. Who the purpose of Paramatma is to guide the jiva towards back home, back to God. That's the main purpose of Paramatma. But at the same time, those who don't want to and those who are not willing to, same time he maintains the living entity and fulfills their material desires also. Ishwar means he is controller. Vishnu, God, Allah, they are all considered because Vishnu deals with the creation. Shir Dakshai Vishnu, Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, Karno Dakshai Vishnu. All three kinds of Vishnu, they deal with the creation and material world. So they are called secondary names. Okay. There are three stages. There are three stages of chanting. There is Shuddha Nam, there is Nam Abhas, and there is Nam Aparad. So probably this will go for some time. Um, Shuddhanam, a Shuddhanam chanter observes Krishna appearing personally on his tongue. Um, when a person is on platform of Shuddhanam, he is with Krishna. So Krishna personally appearing. Now, holy name, although it is not different from Krishna, holy name has the free will to reveal oneself according to our realizations. Um, Based on our desires, based on our purity, based on the blessings of devotees, holy name will reveal to us in different ways. So, for a person on a platform of Shuddha Nam, holy name will fully reveal 100% potency. He will reveal himself fully, means Krishna will reveal himself. Uh, this is a pure stage of chanting. As an effect of this chanting, receives pure love of God. He receives pure love of God. Um, it is described that one pure holy name can counteract more sins than what we can commit in millions of lifetimes. One pure name. And one pure name, you say Krishna, just one pure name, Krishna, can give you love of God. Um, one lecture I heard, our chanting is to come to the stage of namaprad to namabhas, to come to the stage of one Shuddha Nam. To chant that one Shuddha Nam, one pure name of Krishna, is our entire training in Krishna consciousness, to come to that stage. But that stage is not possible unless we are fully pure at heart. We cannot chant Shuddha Nam. Then there is namabhas. This is chanting on the clearing stage. Um, Um, so nam aparad is we are committing aparads, we are committing offenses, and we will see in detail the offenses. So that is nam aparad when we are chanting and we are committing offenses. That is the beginning stage. There is hardly any reciprocation from Krishna, hardly any absorption, and it's a difficult phase of chanting because we are chanting but we are offending the holy name. Then namabhas is when we are very careful not to commit the offenses. And Shuddha Nam is when we are pure at heart and there is no possibility of committing an offense. And Shuddha Nam reveals Krishna fully. Um, um, this is chanting on the clearing stage. Abhas means reflection. So in Nam Abhas, you develop some taste in chanting. Namabhas will give you liberation also. Lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, all will go away just by chanting while very careful to avoid the 10 offenses. Um, there is deliberate endeavor to avoid offenses and to hear the holy name with full attention. That's why one thing we do in all ISKCON temples around the world, and all sincere devotees do that, is they chant the 10 offenses every day. Because when we are chanting, then we are consciously reflecting which one I am lacking. And then when we are chanting every day, when we act on those material platforms which result in nam aparad, we see our mistakes. And then once we are constantly um, 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 like reminded, once we are constantly reminded by our own regulative practice of the mistakes that I'm making, then only there is a hope to work on those offenses. So chanting the 10 offenses every day, they come from Padma Puran. We will discuss them in detail. So we get a detailed understanding. At the same time, chanting just those offenses may take like 2 to 3 minutes, and that helps us contemplate where I'm going wrong. Otherwise, many times we may be acting on a material platform, but we will not realize. Actually, chanting the 10 offenses and the holy name itself will help us realize ki, see, you are doing wrong here. These desires are not good. You should work on them. So there is so namabhas means there is deliberate endeavor to avoid offenses. One is very very careful because once one start relishing the holy name, he knows that if one day I am not able to relish the holy name, that day is like a hellish planet life. That day is like I have been to Atal, Sutal, Talatal, Patal for that day. So he knows the effect of not being able to chant one day. So then he develops so much fear that I'm completely dependent and I feel very empty and unnourished if one day my chanting is not good. So that person becomes very, very careful throughout the day what he's speaking, talking, doing, desiring, how he is spending his time. He becomes so careful how he is dealing with others, that no offense should happen. And in the beginning one doesn't care so much, because the holy name is not giving any taste to that person. So that person may be committing offenses, he has no taste, and he is in a loop where he continue to commit offenses, and he continue to experience no taste. But at some point of time, he becomes, like Krishna awakens a real taste in him. Krishna awakens um, that strong attraction for the holy name, and then he start getting attached to it. The principle of attachment, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, is happiness. When he starts enjoying, he becomes attached to it, and then he becomes more and more careful. He understands that actually, um, the only thing that can satisfy me is the holy name, and Krishna through the medium of holy name. So let me take this one thing of my life more seriously. So there is deliberate endeavor to avoid the offenses and to hear the holy name with full attention, because he derives so much joy from there. By serving the spiritual master with full attention, one rises to Shuddha Nam stage. Actually, without even spiritual master, you can come to stage of namabhas, and namabhas give you liberation, means you can even cross anartha nivriti without spiritual master. You can cross over, you can become free from lust, envy, anger, greed, pride, all anarthas, which is the longest phase actually. um, um, Actually other phases are also very long in true reality, but the most difficult phase to cross is anartha nivriti. Anarthas, when there are anarthas in the heart, unwanted desires, Prabhupada says, unwanted habits, unwanted, everything unwanted within the heart. When those are there, spiritual life is difficult, because they are the obstacles. But when they go away, then naturally there is some kind of attraction, and there is very fixed up in devotional service. Anarthas brings to nishtha. Nishtha means it's not like someday I feel like doing devotional service, someday I feel like chanting, someday I feel like serving, and someday I am not interested. So that is lack of nishtha. Lack of nishtha means my moods define my devotion, my services, my moods. But nishtha means, um, whether I am, whatever be the situation, um, um, I am spending my whole day in Krishna service. If my body is not supporting, still I am Krishna conscious, but in a different way. That's all right. That's all right. But I am Krishna conscious. My service to Krishna is not dependent on any external situation. And when that happens for a long time, that nishtha means steadiness in Krishna's service, that quickly brings one out of anartha nivriti. Regulated nishtha means I am pushing myself to be a nishtha devotee, to be a steady devotee, to always engage all my time, other than when I'm eating or when I'm sleeping, to engage all my time consciously trying to be Krishna conscious, consciously working on that direction. Whether it is cooking, buying groceries, or working, or whatever we are doing, but trying to keep some way or the other Krishna in the center. Trying slowly, slowly, it may take some time, and that nishtha will bring us out of anarthas. And one can reach that stage of beyond anartha nivriti and even develop a very strong ruchi without initiation. But one cannot go back home back to Godhead. The revelation of our true identity, Guru has to give, a spiritual master has to give. The empowerment to do higher services also comes from spiritual master. So sooner we get initiated, the easier it becomes to practice. But nonetheless, that should not minimize the power of the holy name. The holy name itself, because it is non-different from Krishna, the holy name has that potency. The Nam Aprad is chanting with offenses. Uh, this man is running very fast. indicating that one should quickly come from the stage of namaprad to namabhas. The longer we stay in the stage of nam aparad is a beginning stage of chanting. The longer we stay in the stage of namaprad, the more difficult it becomes to practice Krishna consciousness. As long as the chanting is performed with offenses, it is absolutely impossible to attain love of God. Actually, chanting is very difficult, and spiritual life is only a shadow. We have no real experience of spiritual life, and spiritual life is only based on scriptures at this point of time. It's the right thing to do, so let me do it. Um, um, but one has to go through Nam Aparat stage to Nam Abhas stage. But how long you want to stay in Nam Aparat stage, that choice is yours. Uh, Nothing should be aspired, nothing else should be aspired than to progress to the next stage as quickly as possible. Offenses have to be given up. Then our spiritual life becomes very nourishing. And the reason we are practicing Krishna consciousness is for nourishment. I mean, at least at this point of time, we are practicing because we are nourished, we are dependent on our spiritual life, we have some experience here and there, so we are looking for that nourishment. But these offenses, they take away our nourishment and choke our spiritual life. So one has to become very careful, and if one has committed many aparads, then one should try to nullify them in a state of humility, and that will help one to advance quickly. So now we will go to the topic of what are those aparads. And my request again, um, um, you can try reciting it every day, just reading it. It may take 3 minutes. You can search 10 offenses to the holy name. It is coming from Padma Puran, and deliberate make endeavor, identify which offenses I am still committing and I am unable to overcome, and making a deliberate attempt. So there, because anarthas are there, it has to be deliberate attempt. Because attraction is there, attachment is there, that anarthas are there. So one cannot avoid these offenses 100%, but one is deliberately trying to avoid them and not act on them, so that the holy name, I can receive some mercy of the holy name. And the more we become attentive, the more we nourish, the more we are nourished, the more we are um, relishing the holy name, the more quicker anarthas will go. In fact, as we come to the stage of nishtha ruchi, ruchi is like increased taste in the holy name. Whatever last remnants of anarthas are there, they go even more quickly. Some of the anarthas, like acting on false ego and those things, can go only at the stage of like bhava. Before bhava, they won't go away. But some simple anarthas like lust, envy, anger, they may go away in a much, I mean, relatively, they may go away in a much beginning stage. Like pride. Pride, I mean, sometime we can do some seminars. Pride is also of multiple kind. One pride is pride because of our material qualification. I am a engineer, I am a doctor, I am intelligent, I am wealthy, I am beautiful, I am, um, my education is high. These are pride um, because of our material association. That pride will go away very quickly. Once you become little sense in Krishna consciousness, those pride will go away. But the pride that arise from devotion, that will take long time. The pride from bhakti, the um, wow, my chanting is very good, and then we become proud that I think I am becoming advanced, I'm advancing. So that kind of pride arising from bhakti, I am able to serve Krishna, I am very effective now, this and this, pride arising from bhakti will take long time. There are multiple kinds of anarthas. Anarthas because of our previous karma, because of our previous life, or anarthas arising because of bhakti. Anarthas arising because of bhakti, they remain even at the stage of ruchi and ashakti. those anarthas remain. But the anarthas which are base anarthas, which distract us fully, um, like gross lust, or um, thoughts of attraction towards male or female based on whoever, whichever body we are in, these are like more of a gross anarthas. um, um, Anger, slow, the desire to control, and when not able to control, becoming angry. um, Pride because of material qualifications. Envy, envy. Now there is difference between envy, which is an anartha, and a spirit of service. Envy, when there is envy, then the person who is doing good, we don't like that person. We want that person to be unsuccessful, we don't want their welfare. That is envy, that is a gross anartha, which goes away relatively quickly. But then there may be a feeling of competition that may remain till the end, which is okay to have. Which is, if somebody is doing very nicely in Krishna consciousness, then we appreciate that person, we are happy for his progress, and then we feel, what am I doing for Krishna? I'm My life is completely useless, I'm not able to do any service to Krishna. And then we are very inspired by the person who is doing lot of devotional service, and we feel very low of ourselves, very low in a way that I want to do something more for Krishna. This is also arising from a purer version of envy, where the mood is not to pull the other person down, but the mood is, um, I want to serve Krishna in the best possible way I can. I can. So one is inspired. This kind of um, um, competitive spirit to improve one's service is there even in Golok Vrindavan. How this devotee is serving Krishna so nicely. I want to do more service to Krishna. So many of these anarthas at a gross phase can go away by attentively chanting the holy names. And these are the anarthas. If we start chanting the holy name, and then thoughts are coming like how to make more wealth, how to attract another person towards me, how to impress upon others, then we should know these are gross anarthas. And um, that kind of impede our relishment of the holy name, because the moment, even for a minute, even for a minute, even for seconds, if the mind goes away from Krishna, we will lose our nourishment. Unless we are totally absorbed in Krishna, we will not be nourished. Just the thought comes, even if the thought comes, what I'm going to cook today afternoon, even that single thought will take away our um, ruchi, our absorption in the holy name. So slowly, like Srila Prabhupada says, in the beginning it is intermittent meditation. Some of the rounds are focused and others are unfocused, but we received sufficient nourishment from that some rounds, or even from that those few mantras, and we feel satisfied. But then slowly this meditation increases, and from few mantras it can become few longer, and then few mantras, then it can go to the point of all 16 rounds. One time Gaur Govind Maharaj says, if all 16 rounds not even a single thought comes, but there is complete absorption in Krishna, then you can even become a spiritual master. He said that's a stage of ashakti. um, After the stage of ruchi, you are uttamadhikari. Till the stage of, we will discuss about those also. uh, Nam aparad is kanishta adhikari, and after the stage of anartha nivriti, almost there, then we are madhyamadhikaris. So there are different grades of devotees, so one must, in order to attain all. Now we saw the different potencies in the holy name, what holy name can give, how he is non-different, abhinama namitvam, purna shuddho nitya mukto, um, nama chintamani, Krishna's chaitanya rasa vigraha is chintamani. So how there is so much potency, and everything is within the holy name. It is this aparad, this offenses, that stop us from experiencing those. So the first offense, which is actually the most The most dangerous offense. It is said that if you can avoid this offense, most of your spiritual life is smooth. Most of your spiritual life will be much easygoing. But this offense is the most difficult to overcome. Um, other of this offense and the tenth offense. Tenth offense is maintaining material attachments. That again comes from anarthas. Greed, lobha. Greed means I want to enjoy. um, 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 Whether it may not be right, but somehow or other I still want to enjoy. So maintaining material attachments and this hathi matha or sadhu ninda, these two offenses are, if you can somehow work on these two offenses on daily basis, no material attachments, and don't offend anyone, then your spiritual life will be mostly smooth. But this is very difficult. Why? Because uh, because we want everyone to listen to me. We want everyone to do what I say. uh, 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 um, so many factors, and this offense is the biggest obstacle in the life of a Vaishnava. This offense must very carefully be dealt with, and the scope of this offense is huge. Like to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for spreading the glories of the holy name. That's how Prabhupada translated it, to blaspheme devotees who are trying to spread the glories of the holy name. And this offense actually extend way beyond way beyond this definition. This offense is too big. But one very gravest form is somebody who is chanting the holy names, or who is trying to spread the holy names, which include all the devotees. We we blaspheme them in a grossest form. This is called Vaishnav Aparad. It is called Hathi Matha Aparad. Hathi Matha because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to call it Hathi Matha, because this elephant is the most powerful animal. Elephant can defeat a lion also. Um, if if elephant is mad, and if you climb the tree, elephant will uproot the tree also. Elephant can destroy everything. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to compare it. We are nicely creating a garden of Vrindavan, a garden within our heart of nice bushes and flowers, and we are growing our devotion. But if we commit an offense to a sadhu, then it's like an elephant entering the garden, and once an elephant, mad elephant, enters the garden, the whole garden will be destroyed in minutes. It doesn't matter if we are practicing Krishna consciousness for 50 years and have attained the stage of bhava, ruchi, ashakti, bhava. Even if at that point of time, if we commit this sadhu ninda, this offense, then the entire garden will be destroyed, no matter how much we have cultivated. So this that's why mad elephant doesn't matter how advanced we are, everything can be destroyed. Now there are innumerable examples, but we are not going in that discussion. When we start nectar of instruction, one of the verse of, there are 11 verses in that, 11 instructions. One of the verse speaks about not offending devotees. There we take this topic in more detail. But here it will be mainly tattva based, less stories and more tattva in this presentation. Nonetheless, there is one example of one devotee, Ram Ramchandrapuri. He offended Lord Chaitanya, and he criticized Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was in his room Gambhira, and Ramchandra Puri saw an ant on the floor, and he said, "See, you are a sannyasi. You are supposed to be very renounced. Your senses are supposed to be fully controlled, and I see an ant here. So, since I see an ant here, you must be eating sweets. So, I mean, it's perfectly okay to eat sweets. But when, because he has that blasphemy nature, he criticized the Lord for just by seeing an ant, and yeah, he criticized, he blasphemed, and that constitute a hathi mata. the mad elephant offense. But we hear from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how a devotee is tolerant. Now, if somebody commits an offense, that person will get the reaction. 110% he will get the reaction. But a devotee does not react. He maintains his sadhu bhushana, his ornaments of a sadhu. One of that is the tolerance of a sadhu. So, um, two qualities of a Vaishnava, something from our Bhagavad Gita discussions. Sarup Lakshan, Tatasta Lakshan. Sarup Lakshan is surrender to Krishna. Tatasta Lakshan is being merciful, being tolerant, being equal to all, perform penances, um, sacrifices without excessively inflicting injury to the body, being truthful, pure hearted, compassionate, free from lusty intelligence. So these are Tathastha Lakshana. And one is Sarup Lakshan, which is surrender to Krishna. So ideally, we should try is somebody may not have Tathastha Lakshan, means he may not be pure at heart, he may have shortcomings, he may not be compassionate, he may lie, he may have lusty intelligence where he's trying to um, enjoy in gross or subtle means. He may not be tolerant, he may become angry very quickly, he may criticize, he may. Um, Now, this is how we should see so that we avoid Hati Matta. This is like for our own training. He may not be equal to all, he may prefer talking to some people more than talking to others less. He may have his own preferences. Um, Based on this person is rich, or this person is beautiful, or this person is knowledgeable, or this person speaks very nicely, or this person, that person. So he may not be equal to all. um, uh, he may not like to perform any penances, or he may like to indulge in sense gratification, like he likes, um, he may watch a video here and there not conducive. He may um, eat food items which are not good for his health, or just eat very voraciously, um, or he may, what other senses, he may hear some songs here and there which may not be conducive for his Krishna consciousness, or what other sense is there. So he may engage in certain activities which are not conducive, that's the goal, which are not in line with our Krishna consciousness. But if we see this person has lot of surrender to Krishna, this person is dedicated, this person is dedicated uh, um, to serve, this person is dedicatedly chanting his rounds, this person is very sincere, this person wants to advance, this person is even trying to help spread the mission, this person is ready, willing to do any seva that is told to this person. This person, then, if he has that Sarup Lakshan, that prime quality of service to Krishna, surrender to Krishna, then we should really glorify that person, in spite of that person lacking the external Lakshana, Tathastha Lakshana, Sadhu Bhushana. Because Sarup Lakshana, which is surrender to Krishna, will develop all the Tathastha Lakshana. He will develop all those qualities naturally because he's engaged in serving Krishna. And we know that because the reason one lack and these complementary qualities, Tathastha Lakshan, Tathastha means marginal. They are called marginal characteristics. The reason one lacks this marginal characteristics because of anarthas. But if he has surrendered to Krishna, anarthas will go away. And that person will very soon become a pure devotee of Krishna. And I may be serving in spiritual world with that devotee. I don't know. I mean, I may be, maybe not. But either ways, um, if the person has surrendered to Krishna, then one must not criticize. It all starts with the mind. We find faults in the mind, and we start criticizing the devotee in the mind. And once our mind becomes polluted by the faults of others, at one point of time, it will reflect in our words. It may reflect in the words directly to that person, or it may reflect to the words to a third party. Like person A has he's lacking some tatasta lakshana. He has some shortcomings. And if I see the fault in person A, and then I tell to person B, that person has all these things, that person. And then by me speaking to person B about person A, becomes a hathimata, becomes a sadhu ninda. And Krishna takes offense. And I will have to pay the price for it. Now, how many such offenses we are committing every day? Innumerable. Innumerable offenses we may be committing. I mean, I don't say I we are committing, we may be committing. And that will take away our absorption in the holy name, because holy name is watching. um, Ideally, a person should live his life in such a way that the whole purpose of life is to develop a deeper relationship with the holy name. What can I do? What first knowledge is required? What will hamper my relationship with Krishna now, with the holy name, with Nam Prabhu? What will hamper my relationship with Nam Prabhu? Now I should be careful. And if you are sincere, Paramatma sitting in your heart will tell you, don't speak like this, don't say like this. Paramatma will give you a checkpoint if you are sincere. The Lord Krishna says, um, Dadami buddhi yogam tam ye namam upayantite. I will give you the intelligence by which you can come to me. And like this, Krishna gives us the intelligence. See, this is not good. You are doing wrong here. Oh Krishna, why did I do like that? And then if you are sincere to hear the voice in your heart, and it all start with lack of respect. First we lack respect for the person who is lacking any tathasta lakshan, and then we judge him, and then we make a conception about him. He's like that, or she's like that. So yeah, I have nothing to do with he or she, because he or she is like that. And it starts with a judgment, and that judgment eventually may reflect in our actions, through our eyes, through the way we talk. In many many ways, the judgment we have about a particular person will be reflected through our behavior. There is a saying, face is a reflection of our thoughts. um, or something like a reflection of our internal. External is a reflection of our internal, something like that. um, and that's where it starts. It all starts with a small contemplation. But then if we are sincere, then Paramatma will, when things are not right, Paramatma will help us to identify, and then we must be willing to rectify ourselves and be very careful to avoid this hathi matta, the sadhu ninda, and that will save. Now this sadhu ninda is not limited to sadhus. The sadhu ninda also include, now there is one thing which is sadhu ninda, blaspheming the devotees, or it can be um, um, uh, tattva vibhrama. Tattva vibhrama means offending any jiva, offending any living entity, even an atheist, or a person who eats flesh of other living entities, even a person who is very blasphemous. Even if we offend him, um, the offense is not so grave. The gravity of the offense is based on whom we are offending. If the person is very senior in devotion, we will go away from Krishna, never to come back. That will be the reaction, like pure devotees. But if we offend some Madhyamadhikari accordingly, some Kanishtha accordingly. But if we offend a non-devotee, then we may have to struggle for few days or maybe 1 or 2 days. So based on that person's relationship with Krishna, that much difficulty Nam Prabhu will give us. And that is also a means to train. The holy name trains us to become a pure Vaishnava. And in the beginning, the reason our holy name absorption is very low because we are not trained in a right kind of living. That's where we come to Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter where Krishna says, what pleases me? What pleases me? One who does not act of false ego pleases me. One who is non-envious pleases me. One who does not think himself the proprietor pleases me. So, but then we lack all these qualities. Now what is the impetus to apply these qualities? The impetus is Nam Prabhu. Somebody who is not chanting holy name after 1 million lifetimes and 1 billion lifetimes and 1 trillion lifetimes, he will never go back to Godhead. He will never advance. His advancement is only and only mental speculation. He thinks he's advancing, he's not at all advancing. Srila Prabhupada said 99% of our advancement is based on chanting the holy names. The purpose of reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Prabhupada said, you can take time. You can take time, that's okay. You can take time, read the scriptures, grow the understanding, but at some point of time we should come to the point of chanting. Naturally, some people start chanting much quickly, some people take longer time, and that's all right. But one must be convinced within one's heart that the real progress happens through the holy name, because Nam Prabhu trains us. Holy name is so pure, a slight impurity holy name cannot tolerate, and the holy name will retaliate. We do a small mistake, we just give an angry look at somebody, the holy name will become upset with us. We scold somebody, holy name will become upset with us. Holy name, if one is sincere, देखो, holy name will nourish you. Then sometime you are very nourished and sometime you are not very nourished. Why? Because of these offenses. With the days offenses are more, the next day reflection will be a difficult experience. And the days we are not committing these offenses, the result will be we will experience. What is the difference between Kanishta and Madhyama and Uttama? He has realized, this is called Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. He has realized what is favorable for Krishna, what is not favorable for Krishna. And my personal experience is, what is favorable for Krishna, what is not favorable for Krishna, does not really comes from hearing. Hearing, we just, when we hear, then it's like, yeah, we should not be envious. Yeah, we should not be envious. But then if we become envious, there is no punishment for not for becoming envious. Then who cares? Who cares? That's okay. Once in a while, we should not act on lust, anger, greed, material attachments. We should not develop these kind of feelings. Yeah, that is right. Yeah, we should not do that. And then the person will do still the same, but because no one is there to punish that person for the sin he is doing, um, that person will suffer after the end of this life. Suffering will come for all the sins that we commit, um, and there is no impetus to improve. Who is improving us? Just like the child does something wrong, the mother scolds the child, shut up, and the child is like, "Ugh." And the child is like, okay, I should not do this. Why? Like, I remember in my childhood, I would do something and my mother will give me a tight slap. And then I like, oh, that was too much. Oh, that was too much. So my mother was very strict. Later on, she just became very relaxed because the children needs to be trained till a certain age. And then there was a fear, like we would go and then I would like to eat. I still like to eat. So we would go in guest house. Guest would keep maybe say few biscuits or something to eat, and I will go and take them all and eat. Then my mother gave me a tight slap and she scolded, next time if you have to take, if somebody offer, take only one. That's it. Don't take more than one. Doesn't look good. You are representing us. Otherwise, they will say, what is your parents teaching to you? Then I became afraid. And then I know, then I will take only one. Why? Because I know I'll be scolded. So if there is nobody who is checking us when we are not exhibiting a pure symptom, what is the motive to improve? um, Uddhav says, if one understands how much the Krishna is training us um, to go back to Godhead, we'll become very indebted to him because he is working so hard on us individually. And that is actually the Nam Prabhu in the commentary. That's actually the Nam Prabhu who is training us. And sometime he will give us a chocolate, and sometime he will give us a tight slap. And what is tight slap? Your 16 rounds you will suffer like anything. But if you give up your chanting, then Krishna says, well, I cannot deal with this person. Like there is an instance where Srila Prabhupada had few disciples. And if some disciple will make a mistake, Prabhupada would heavily scold them and he would chastise them in front of everybody, and they will be completely embarrassed, and they would be like devastated. When a pure devotee chastises you, you will be devastated. So they will be completely devastated. But another person, he would do even more grave offenses, and Prabhupada would not speak anything to him. And the devotees asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, this person did such small offenses and you heavily chastised him, you devastated his whole life in front of others, he has no reputation remaining. This person does such a grave offense and you did not say anything to him. Prabhupada said, because if I tell him, he will leave. If I tell him, he will go away from Krishna. But this person has faith. This person has faith, so I can chastise him, he will take the chastisement. This person is advanced, so my chastisement is taking him to the next level. So like that, those people who does not experience the taste in holy name, if they think, yeah, I don't think there is anything there, then Krishna says, well, this person is uh, too much of a beginner. Too much of a beginner, he has no faith. So Krishna says, well, this person is not ready for chastisement. So Prabhupada was afraid to chastise that person. Then Krishna, then you give him a lollipop. So Krishna gave you some encouragement here and there. You give him a lollipop, and then you feel, for how long do you want to remain a child? When will you grow? Do you want to remain a child throughout your life? At some point of time, you have to grow. You have to grow in your devotion. You may be grown in the body, but you have to grow in your faith. You have to grow in your devotion. So, likewise, the holy name. Sometime the holy name will give a tight slap to you if you make some mistake. And then, to such an extent, he will give you a tight slap that you will literally be in your tears, because to chant one Nam of Krishna will be so difficult for you. At another time, the chanting will flow like a piece of cake, and you feel like, oh, oh, you will feel like that. So Krishna is either giving you a lollipop, so just like a child when he does something very nice, so you give him a prize. So a prize is an encouragement, this is very nice. So what the holy name does is, somebody scolds you heavily, chastise you, and then your ego is hurt and you don't want to talk to that person ever, and but you overcome your ego and you still take a humble position. Krishna will reward you. Krishna will say, Krishna will pat your back. Very nice. Means encouraging you, deal like this more. And someday you act out of ego, Krishna will give you a tight slap. One time, one devotee asked me, why Krishna carries a stick? I was serving Radha Kunj Vihari temple that time. I was staying in Detroit temple. So in Detroit temple, Kunj Bihari has a stick, and then he's one of the senior most devotee. Jagat Guru Prabhu. So he asked me, "Do you know why Krishna carry a stick?" I know the answer, but I said, "No, Prabhu." And he said, "To beat you up." I said, "Yeah, Prabhu, to beat me up." He said, "Yeah, if you make any mistake, he'll beat you up." So Krishna is like a father. He is actually a real father. A real father teaches the child what how to behave and how not to behave. If a person does not teach a child, then he is just like Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan. He will spoil the child. So Krishna is like a real father, and the holy name of Krishna is Krishna personally. So our motivation is, let me absorb in Krishna's holy name. I will die for it. I will give up eating and sleeping also. I will do whatever it takes. I mean, I don't do it myself. I eat and sleep nicely. But at some point of time, that desperation and the greed will increase more and more at some point of time. Um, so this is, and then four kinds of offenses against Vaishnavas. One should not criticize a Vaishnav about his caste. Means he's a Shudra born. He's a Shudra. But he is a Brahmana. So he is a great devotee. He is a Shudra. So that is an offensive mentality. Then unintentional sin. Unintentional sin means once in a while he makes a mistake. He eats without offering to Krishna. He watches something here and there which is not conducive. He listens something here and there which is not conducive. Unintentional. He never does that. He never does that. He's always very strict. But once in a while, something that Krishna says, apiche suduracharo, because the power of material energy, sometimes he may act like that. Now I tell you, please take these words very, very carefully. Material energy grip on you will increase if you offend devotees. If you offend devotees, your desire to enjoy material world will increase like anything. And you will think it is my own lust coming out of me, it is my own greed that is impelling me to think like that. But you will not be able to see it is my offense which is bringing sometimes. Now see what happens is, once you cross anartha nivritti, lust will go away. Lust will not attack you at all. But even at the stage of ruchi and bhava, lust may attack you. And that lust is different from anartha nivritti lust. That lust is the anarthas arising because of bhakti and because of offenses. Those will stay even till the stage of bhava. That's why Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says almost destroyed, because the regular meditation on material objects will go away. But if you make a mistake, then Krishna loses the grip of Maya on you, and all your previous thoughts and whatever you have watched before, whatever you have done before, all those meditation will come into you, and you will be completely absorbed in those meditation. Even if you want to think of Krishna, Maya will be too powerful that you will just be helpless in the hands of Maya, like a puppet in the hands of Maya. So it is these offenses that if one understands, these are all, this all will be revealed to you. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, after speaking all these things, he says, chant Hare Krishna with conviction, and your conviction will be mine. You become sincere devotee, and whatever I am writing, that will be your understanding as well in future, if not today. So one has to be very careful. And Divya Gran Hide Prakashito. Then Krishna gives us the intelligence. Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Then Krishna tells, well, you made that mistake to that devotee. You should not have spoken with him like that. And this is the consequence. Then you repent, you beg forgiveness, and you say, my Lord, I will never do it again. Please forgive me. And once you identify the problem and beg to Krishna, even if you cannot beg to that person because of time, place, circumstances, it's between you and Nam Prabhu. Nam Prabhu, the purpose of Nam Prabhu is to rectify your heart. When he sees that you are repenting and you don't want to do that and you are sincere, Nam Prabhu does not take. Like a child may have a bad habits, but he tells and he goes and tells to the mother, Mother, I'm sorry. Then mother sees that this person is genuine. This child really doesn't want to do that. Somehow he said like that, that's okay, that's okay. So like a mother, Nam Prabhu will forgive us, and Lam Prabhu will give us lot of mercy, lot of mercy. So this is unintentional sin. Once in a while person may do something, um, uh, and you may witness it that this person does something wrong. Don't judge that person. Still, see, after doing something wrong, what is he doing? Is he still chanting his rounds? Is he still continuing his service? Is he lamenting? Is he sincere? Then that person has not lost anything. That person is perfectly pure, because very soon he will become perfectly pure. In fact, Krishna says to Uddhav in Srimad Bhagavatam that in the beginning my devotees make lot of mistakes, but because they continue their service to me, very quickly I purify them and I end their cycles of birth and death. So these phases we may have to go through, but these phases will become more frequent. This unintentional sin will become more frequent, especially when there is sadhu ninda, especially that time. And then last traces of his previous sins, or maybe someone had just began his Krishna consciousness. He is trying to live a pure life, but he still has anarthas, and he is he is determined, I will not commit a sinful act. I will not commit act which is not conducive for my progress in Krishna consciousness. But he has some bad habits. He's trying to overcome those bad habits, but once in a while he becomes overwhelmed. Those are not anarthas. Those are not because of sadhu ninda. Those are actually because of his. I mean, those are because of his anarthas, not because of offenses. Um, 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 and he may once in a while. I mean, once in a while he may indulge in contact of the senses with the sense objects, and he will feel bad about it, and but he may still indulge. Don't worry about it. Just encourage that person to um, to um, become more Krishna conscious. Don't worry about the habits of that person, because everything will go away. These are all impurities. Krishna is all pure. We are not here to point somebody's impurities to someone. Prabhuji, you have too much ego, you are too envious, you are too lusty, you are too greedy. We are not here for that purpose, because those are not important. Important is Prabhu, Krishna is all pure. Krishna is your best friend. Krishna is your father. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is your everyone. You chant the name of Krishna. You worship Krishna. You try to understand Krishna. You try to progress and go closer to Krishna. You try to love Krishna. And these things are just like, peanuts. They will just go away just like that. If a person just develops faith and practices Krishna consciousness more sincerely, that's all. And I am very grateful to see all of you setting such good example of eagerness to progress in your own Krishna consciousness. I personally bow down to all of you for all of your sincere desire to grow, and I hope and pray that wherever you all are, you all keep growing from there, and keep growing and develop that strong faith, nishtha, in 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 the Supreme Lord, the loving service to the Supreme Lord. Sinful activities prior to his surrendering to Lord Krishna. Now, one should not criticize a person because what the person used to do before. Oh, that person, before he came to Krishna consciousness, he was a meat eater. Now, we committed an offense here just now, because we are criticizing the person for his past. That person, before he came to Krishna consciousness, he was a nonsense. We committed an offense. He used to watch all these kind of things, and he used to go to all these places, and he used to drink all these substances, and smoke all these substances, and he used to do. Now we are increasing our offenses only. So one should not criticize a person for his past. Jagai and Madhai were very sinful. There was no sin that they would not commit. But when they received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu told all the devotees, do not criticize them for their past. They would, they would like do anything. They would like hit and beat the Brahmanas. I mean, he hit Nityananda Prabhu. But Mahaprabhu said, okay, now he has received my mercy. Now he is a devotee. So do not criticize him for his past. Now he is a sadhu. Every saint has a past. We all are trying to become devotees, but we all may have dark moments in our past. We all may have done some kind of sinful activities in the past. If you have not done, that's very nice. That's very nice. But if you have done, it doesn't matter to any one of us, because what matters is now you are taking shelter of Krishna. I mean, even if somebody doesn't haven't done anything wrong in the past, in previous life we may have done so many wrong things. So it's always material life means there is ignorance and there is activities out. Don't worry about it. Just now you take loving service to Krishna. Krishna is full of love. Krishna's pastimes are full of love. Krishna devotees are full of love. Now you take shelter, and then Krishna will forgive all your past like as if they never exist. Krishna doesn't care. Be sincere now. What is the cause of Vaishnava Prad? Asatsang. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when we associate with um, asatsang, asat includes association with women. Prabhupada says, for a man, woman is woman. For a woman, man is woman. Woman means looking at somebody with a desire to enjoy in some form or the other. So asatsang, either association of women or to mix with envious people, Mayavadis who criticize God, pretenders who have no God consciousness but they just show off, and atheists who don't believe that God exists. So when we have such association, that will lead to Vaishnava Prad. How this happens? It happens. It just happens. Um, we will we will end up in criticizing devotees because of asat sangha. Mahaprabhu said our mentality becomes crooked. Crooked means we start valuing asat sangis, non devotees, their words more than the words of Krishna and the words of devotees who are practicing Krishna. And that brings a mental criticism, and mental criticism leads to physical criticism, and physical criticism leads to um, 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 I mean, that's Vaishnava Prad, and that take away our Krishna consciousness from us. So, association of women, we understand. Envious. Envious means you go to somebody and they say, why are you doing this Krishna consciousness? I know all these people, you know. Um, 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 People leave their home and they tell everybody to leave your home and leave your families and leave all your dharma and karma. They are all not good people. Why are you doing this? Or they will say, this is not the right time. This is not a age. What are you doing all these things? You have goals. You should be focused on your life. Don't get distracted. So these are all envious people because they are envious of Krishna. They become envious of seeing anybody who is going closer to Krishna. They are called envious people or association of sense enjoyers. You see somebody who is enjoying his senses through eyes, through sense of touch, through ears, through tongue. He's trying to enjoy his senses. And when you associate with such person, you will think, oh, what am I doing? There are so many restrictions here. Can't do this, can't do that. I mean, I want to live life, man. Come on, give me a break. I want to just not be. I mean, I will do it. They are good people, and I will chant one round. I'm chanting one round, but I have my own goals. This happens. This thought comes because of association of sense enjoyers. When we see those who are trying to enjoy material life, what happens is we have anarthas. We have lust in our heart. We have anarthas. We have desire to enjoy. We are trying to overcome and become pure devotees. Prabhupada says material sense enjoyers are like the crows. They gather in filthy places like cinemas and restaurants and and pubs and bars. They gather in filthy places. But the pure devotees of the Lord, they gather in scenic beauty of Vrindavan and in association of devotees where the Lord is glorified. In the temples when festivals are being celebrated. So they gather at those places. So some are like crows, some are like swans. But um, if we associate with those who are sense enjoyers, it will increase our propensity to enjoy our senses. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says asat sanga, he says association with women, and he also says association with men who are attached to women. If a particular man is very much attached to women, don't associate with him, because it will increase your desire to associate with women or to impress a woman, whoever, for man, woman, for woman, man. The word is the whole material word. Prabhupada said that's why we are in this material world, because we are trying to impress um, people in this world instead of trying to serve and trying to impress Krishna. Um, and when those thoughts are there, everything we do for Krishna will be contaminated, will be contaminated, and Krishna will purify us. Just be ready. Krishna will purify us. So association of envious people who hate Krishna, they don't say they hate Krishna, they look like they are great souls, they look like very, sometimes they look like very sattvic people and very good habits, and they spoke with lot of love and affection for you, and वो आपको बहुत प्रेम से समझाएंगे, they will teach you with lot of love. See, this is not the time. You are getting distracted. You are getting too much influenced by these people. I mean, spiritual life is important, but um, you have your own life. I mean, think about it. So these are envious people. Krishna says, Mahaprabhu says, Asat Sangi Tyagi Ehi Vaishnavachar. Because that, why? Because these people will take away your desire to serve Krishna. If you associate with those who are trying to serve Krishna, your desire to serve Krishna will increase. But if you associate with those who are trying to enjoy their senses, your desire to enjoy your senses will increase. Think about it. Is enjoying our senses in our favor, or is service to Krishna in our favor? Whatever enjoyment of the senses we do, it will go with the body, and in our next life we again, as long as we have a material body with material senses, this activity of trying to enjoy the senses is going on for millions of years, and it will continue to go on for millions of years. But what is the result of enjoying our senses? Dukkha yunana evate, so much anxiety, suffering, unfulfilled desires, running, right? Life is like running. Prabhupada says they are running without a goal. What is the goal? Don't know the goal, just keep running, and at the old age, then just wait for death. So envy, sense enjoys, mayavadis are another people we should not associate. They say Krishna, I don't think God is a form. Who has said God is a form? These people say Krishna is God, they say Shiva is God, they say Brahma is God. These are all. So God actually Brahman. Mayavadis, they are Mayavadis. Krishnera aparadhis. Mayavadis are aparadhis. So association of them, pretenders who are just show bottle spiritualists, show bottle. Once in a while they go to temple, once in a while, and atheist who don't believe. This is simple one, atheist. So when we associate with these people, we will end up in criticizing Krishna's teachings and criticizing Krishna's devotees mentally. Why? I mean, it's good once in a while. I will hear Bhagavad Gita. Good, nice instruction. But what do you want to learn from Bhagavad Gita? I want to learn, how to live a proper, how to do proper karma. I want to live from Bhagavad Gita. These are all, nonetheless, a satsangi Krishnera aparadhi. They will make you, force you to criticize Krishna consciousness, Krishna devotees, and you will become very inhibited. You will be very careful by associating with devotees. Your the thoughts of those materialist and envious and sense enjoyers will be in your mind when you associate with devotees. Yeah. They will say all these things, but I should not come in their trap. So this is all mental offenses. Basically, we are telling Krishna, I believe this sense enjoyer more than you. The sense enjoyer is my well wisher, and you sitting in my heart, my part and parcel, my true father and mother, you are nonsense. You are nonsense. Everything you speak, Krishna, that is nonsense. And this person who is completely lusty and greedy and envious, and he has all he has in his life is sex life, and he is my well wisher. He is my well wisher. When this is what we are actually telling inside our heart, when we associate with envious people and sense enjoyers. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you want to progress in your Krishna consciousness, associate with devotees. That is the that is in your true benefit. That will really help you progress. Okay. Sometimes I become very emotional and heavy. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnav, these are various other kinds of Vaishnav aparadhis. Um, Whoever kills a Vaishnav, I'm sure none of you want to kill a Vaishnav, or blaspheme a Vaishnav. Blaspheme can be first hand, blaspheme can be third hand. Like, I have one very nice association with my roommate Sham Kishore Prabhu, and if I say, Prabhu, that Prabhuji or that Mataji is like this, then I should be prepared to suffer next day morning. So blaspheme a devotee, first hand or third hand. Rather, if you actually see a fault in a person, and if you have a relationship with the person, and if the person will take you positively, then you can go and say, Prabhu, these were, I was thinking this may not be appreciative for your progress. That is being a well wisher. That is not blasphemy, because your mood is not to criticize, your mood is to help the person. When the mood is to help the person, you can say anything to the person, and if your mood is correct, that person will not feel bad. If your children do something wrong, your mood is should not be to criticize, but okay, now how can I help this person improve? Same thing with the spouse. But criticism will help you degrade. Like, this person is always like this person is nonsense, this person does not is I have nothing to do with this person. So that thought should not be encouraged. Rather, you have a fair conversation. You can say, to help you come out of mind criticism, you can say, well, you did like this, I was not very appreciative of it, just wanted to reveal my heart to you, and see what we can do. So as long as the other person can take it, and if your motive is relatively to keep a healthy relationship, it will really help. And many times my spiritual master says, relationship between husband and wife becomes the cause of one's obstruction in Krishna consciousness, because one develops familiarity with closeness. When one is very close, one develops familiarity, and familiarity breeds contempt, and then you will breed contempt towards each other. And because they are also chanting 16 rounds, Krishna does not see she's your wife, he's your husband. Krishna sees he is a very dear devotee to me. Baba, be careful, he is very dear devotee to me. This person is thoroughly sincere. This person is ready to do anything for Krishna. If you don't deal with him properly, I will give you a lot of mercy. And same for the other person also. Even if the person is not a devotee, tattva vibhrama, l- offending any living entity will have a reaction. When our life becomes like very smooth dealings with everyone, that requires tolerance. That requires training. But then, if you know, if I tolerate, if I go through this difficult time, I will get Krishna's mercy. So this is called um, param drishtva nivartate, means for a higher purpose you are tolerating something less important. But if there is no higher purpose, why should I tolerate? You will get some lollipops. Oh yes, I will tolerate. But if there is no impetus to tolerate, then we'll be like more acting on anarthas, because we don't care, because by default anarthas want us to blaspheme the other person. uh, Uh, then whoever is envious of a Vaishnava or angry with him, that also commits a Vaishnava prad. Envious with a person means you see a person and you don't want their welfare. You see a person and you feel like, why the hell he is here? You are envious of a person that will take away your holy name. These are all Vaishnava Aparadh, Sadhu Ninda. Not necessarily Sadhu. Any living entity we are envious, be ready, absorption will not be there. It will be a struggle. I mean, sometimes we say chanting is a struggle. Why? Because of these 10 offenses. When you come out of these 10 offenses, once you become very careful, it takes time. My experience, it will take time. And but you just have to keep chanting, and you have to hear from holy name where I am doing wrong, and you work on it, and you work on it, and you work on it. Prabhupada says, guaranteed this life you will become liberated, pure soul, back home, back to Godhead. At some point of time, we have to go through this process. If we are not interested in this life, next life we have to do. But Kali Yuga will become more severe and then more severe. Why do you want to waste time? Why not? And then who knows if next life we will get that intelligence? Maybe throughout Kali Yuga we'll just keep on degrading and suffering. Who knows? So once now you have knowledge, now you understand. Um, Please train your mind. Don't become servant of your mind. Please instruct your mind and do what Krishna wants you to do. That will be only you will get benefited from it. So whoever is envious of a Vaishnava or angry with him, if you're angry with a Vaishnava, it constitutes this sadhu ninda, angry. Even if you don't express the anger, if you have anger in your heart while chanting, you will think of, this person is a heck in my life, and that one thought will destroy your japa, will destroy your japa. Whoever does not offer him obeisances. Now, whoever does not offer obeisances to a Vaishnava also is a part of sadhu ninda. Offer obeisances does not mean you physically has to bow down. Rupa Goswami explains, if someone is not initiated, mentally bow down. If someone is initiated, physically bow down. If someone is a a pure devotee, serve him. I mean, you can even, I mean, I only mentally bow down to those who are even initiated many times. um, but as long as the feeling in the mind is not triggered by envy or anger, like when you see a person and you think in a subtle way he's a nonsense, he's a nonsense, then your japa will also be nonsense. But if you see a person, any person you see, and in your heart is like, Prabhuji Danvat Pranam, in your heart you are offering obeisances. To whom? To a new person, to a meat eater, to a drug addict, to one who is addicted to all sinful activities, and to all kinds of devotees. If you see anybody and you don't see their bad quality, but you see this person has come to temple, this person is interested in Krishna, and then in your heart you offer obeisances to him. If somebody who has nothing to do with Krishna, you don't have to deal with him. I mean, for work basis, if you deal with him, keep it work related, but in the mind still there is respect. If you can get this one quality, which will not come so easy, but it is a, it will help you improve your japa. If you can get this one quality of smoothness in your relationship with everyone, whoever they are, with everyone, that will really help you in your holy names. Whoever, and Krishna says this is austerity of speech, austerity of mind. That's what Krishna says. uh, Gravity, pleasing words. This is offering obeisances. Krishna says these are austerities. Means sometimes we may not like to do it, but Krishna says do it as a matter of austerity. Do it as a matter of austerity. Simplicity. Simplicity means internally you're not angry. Simplicity means internal outside same. You just, if you have lot of problem with somebody, it's better to resolve it than to continue meditating on it in the mind. It's better to talk and say, Prabhuji or Mataji, or if it's your spouse, you can say, um, this thing I did not like. That's all right. That's all right to be open and communicate. But after communicate, you say, well, I have a lot of affection for you. I want our relationship to be very strong. But it was disturbing me, so I thought that what we can do about it. Say something that covers up. Don't leave the other person. Don't, it should not increase other person's anger or enmity towards you. As long as you can say anything in life, you can heavily criticize also, but if that criticism does not make the other person, like one time one devotee asked my spiritual master, should we criticize if somebody is doing wrong, or should we always be very polite and humble and don't say anything? Mara says you can criticize, you can scold, you can hit also. Mara said that. Mara said you can do anything with the person, but elevate him, whatever it takes to elevate him. Sometimes speaking heavy words help to elevate him, then do that, whatever it takes. But the other person other person should consciousness should be elevated. Then that will actually help you in your consciousness, if you become an instrument to elevate other person's consciousness. And not feeling joy upon seeing a Vaishnav, this is this is not an easy one. You see a Vaishnav and you don't feel joy. I don't know how it applies, what level of purity it requires. And Bhakti Thakur says, certainly those people who don't do this fall into a hellish condition. My interpretation of hellish condition is, um, their japa will give them a hard time. Um, um, yeah, that's how I see it. Um, so there are many grades and many divisions and many varieties, and very deep this one anarthas go, which is ninda, to blaspheme somebody. If everybody thinks about you that he's a nice person, even if he does not think about you he's a nice devotee, that's okay. Not everybody knows you are a devotee, but if they think he's a nice person, it will help you in your japa. If you collect blessings from everyone, you will progress. But if you collect curses from some, it you will face that in the beginning we don't care, because ego, we don't care what other person think about me, I don't care. And then probably over period of time you will overcome it, over period of time, because the other person give up that feeling of grudge for you. Once the other person give up the feeling of grudge for you, you'll be able to absorb in your chanting nicely. But then what happens, in the by the time the other person give up the feeling of grudge, you do something else, somebody else is upset, and you do something else, somebody else is upset. So the life is so much into the mud, kichad, so much into the mud if you're not careful. That's why for some people advancement is more difficult than others, especially people who are in lot of passion, who very heavily criticize or very frequently criticize. For them it will be difficult. But people who are sattvic people have good control on their tongue. People in goodness, they have good behavior, they speak sweetly. I mean, sweetly doesn't depend upon sweetly or harshly, but they speak to elevate. They speak not out of anger, envy. You can be blunt in your words, you can be harsh in your words. If that's your style of talking, that depends upon your born and brought up and many factors. As long as your words don't end up in creating a grudge in the heart of other person, you are good. You are good. They're all kind of devotees and they're all making progress, as long as one is careful to maintain a a healthy relationship. And slowly we become purified. And when we become relatively pure, because we are not causing trouble to anyone, nobody will cause trouble to you, and you will feel relatively very happy. But if you have these qualities already, then you should know you are in a greatly fortunate position. You are in a greatly fortunate position. And then You should you should, this is your strength, your greatest strength. Most of the people do not have that strength. Actually, most of you are great souls, at least my study of all of you. Yet I'm describing all these factors for the sake of completeness, but I know you, all of you are great souls. You have lot of potency. um, my request will be, if you have a strength, use that strength to become, um, to improve. If you have a strength, then you have an opportunity here. You use that opportunity to gain the wealth of life, the wealth of devotion, the wealth of true nourishment and true happiness, and going back home, back to Godhead. Okay, so that's all. We will end here. Are there any questions?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Okay, Ravindra Prabhu.
Suppose there is an employee, okay, and there is a manager. Manager is a Vaishnav, but the employee knows that the manager is not doing good things, and knowingly or unknowingly, he happens to be part of the team who grudges about the manager. So, is it correct, or how will it affect him?
Okay, so Prabhu, your situation is complex. There is a manager, there is a team, and
Yeah.
team has grudge over manager
Yes, because manager is not behaving in the right way.
in the right way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
and where is our standing? Who are we in this role?
We are also Vaishnav, and the manager is also Vaishnav.
And do we have grudge against the manager?
As a person, no. As a manager, yes.
I hear you.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, Prabhuji, uh, um, it is not easy to come out of this zone. It is like a very, very complex cycle, something that has helped me personally in my life, in my experiences. When I have negativity towards some person, I only desire that I don't want that negativity towards a person, because actually to not have negativity towards a person, that depends upon our own desire. This is the secret, Prabhuji, the very confidential secret. When you want to have negativity towards a person, you will see it. But when you don't want it, when you desire, my lord, I don't want to see negativity in that person, although the person has lot of negativity. The person has a behavior that I don't like. The
Mhm.
person speaks in a way that I don't like. He behaves in a way that I don't like. He makes decision in a way that I don't like. And just being around him, it's like a tension for me. So although I have these experiences myself,
Mhm.
so then I pray to Radha Gopichana Vallabha, my Ishtadev, or whoever the deities you are attracted to, or simply Krishna, that my lord, please help me to not see negativity in that person. And just this one thing, and if you have that faith where Krishna says, depend on me and by my mercy you'll be able to cross over all the obstacles. So a problem not known is half solved. If you realize there is a problem, then now it's just a matter of working on it. And if you depend on Krishna, and if you sincerely desire in your heart, don't have this feeling I want this person to be kind of, um, to have some negative impact on them. We That's not our business. His karma will take him to his own destination. It's not our business to take the role of the universal judge and decide what should happen to that person. Our role is to work on ourselves. Our role is not to work on others. We have to work on ourselves. And you pray, my lord, that person is not going to change, Prabhuji, I tell you, because he has a particular nature, a particular behavior. He may be practicing Krishna consciousness, but he will take his own time to overcome. So
Okay.
if we depend on him to change, then we are basing our progress in Krishna consciousness for 20 years. We don't want to do that. We
Mhm.
want to go to next level tomorrow. So we just have to see, okay, how do I deal with this situation? You will face with lot of people, sometimes lot of devotees, they all have their own nature. Now it's our own training, that how do I become an expert in dealing in this situation without having that mood. And the solution lies in dependence on Krishna. My Lord, please help me. My spiritual master says, if you sincerely pray to Krishna to please help me see good in others, Krishna will help you see good in that person. It will slowly happen. Or another thing that may happen is that person may come to you and will just smile at you, and the smile of that person will help you give up your negativity toward that person. Just the smile of that person can do that to you. And that Krishna inspired him. He may not realize it, but because of your prayers, Krishna inspired him to behave nicely with you. Or Krishna may give him, he may not change, but Krishna may give him the thought, actually Ravindra Prabhu is so tolerant, actually he is always humble. Whatever, I mean, some quality that is genuinely present in you, Krishna may reflect that in him by the power of your prayers. And Krishna can do what we by our own arrangements cannot do. And that is the principle of depending on Krishna. See what happens, Prabhuji. That's my experience.
Okay, Prabhuji, it helps. I'll try this.
Okay. Krishna willing, you will be able to come out of it, hopefully.
I have full
Krishna
faith.
willing. All right. But I understand these are very difficult phases, Prabhu. And that's what makes Krishna consciousness difficult. But we should know, the more difficult test we go through, the greater advancement lies there. In my own experiences, first I had very rough experiences in my life, like very rough experiences in my life, with all kind, with new people, with devotees also. These are all tests for me to take next level. And then Krishna will put me in that situation, and then he will test my mind. There was a point of time when I was living with a devotee, and I would get up early in the morning and I would chant, and the devotee said, if you want to live in this house, he would chant. I don't know where he is now, but I was living Grand Rapids. He moved out somewhere, and he told me, if you want to chant, you have to leave this home in the morning. You can chant in the afternoon or whenever, but not in the morning, because my sleep get disturbed. And it was winter time, and this is every day, and I was very much attached to chanting in the morning. What do I do? And there was a time when I would go to bathroom, and I would sit on the mat in a bathroom where we do all kind of dirty things. I would sit on that mat and I would chant my rounds early in the morning, closing the gate, closing the light so the other person is not disturbed. Now it's a test for my tolerance. And I was really praying to Krishna, my Lord, take me out of this situation. I don't want to chant in the bathroom. But Krishna would help me absorb myself even in bathroom. It's just a matter of, okay, now I have to deal with this. I have to deal with all different kind of personalities. It's a test for my tolerance. Every time I would retaliate, initially at small things, then bigger things, and then more bigger things, and then more bigger things. Now how much tolerance? Krishna will train you to become more tolerant. Krishna will train you become more humble. This is all training. Every situation we are in should be seen as, Krishna has put me in this situation for me to grow, not for the other person to change. Other person may change, may not change, that's not my business. That's between him or her and Krishna. I am in this situation, I have to train myself to take to next level. And my experience, probably, I have gone through very difficult times. At one point of time, I moved into temple. That was my first. I left the job and I moved into temple. And my experience right after moving to temple for months. Why did I ever move into this temple? What did I do? I just spoiled my life. These thoughts will come because so many difficulties I had to face. But then again, do you take Krishna seriously and see that as Krishna's arrangement and then work in that direction? Or do you keep blaming others and then not work on yourself and not grow? That choice is ours. And if you just see everywhere Krishna's arrangement depend on Krishna, Krishna's guarantee in 18th chapter, you will be able to cross over all the obstacles. So Prabhuji, these are all tests from Krishna. You y- if you pass this test, don't think your life will be smooth. Difficult, more difficult test will come, bro. and even more difficult test will come. But it is all an arrangement for you to definitely for you to go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna knows what level of test this person can pass. My spiritual master says Krishna will not give you a test that you cannot pass. If you are given a very difficult test, means Krishna is considering you qualified to take care of that test. And if you take care of that test, Krishna will give you even difficult tests to such an extent that you become a pure devotee. And what is a pure devotee is a very high state. But to get there, this is a training, a price we have to pay, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji, this helps.
Okay. Okay. My spiritual master says for a gold to become pure, first the gold is burned. And when the gold is burnt, gold melts and all the impurities come on the surface. And then you remove the impurity and the gold is pure. So he said, nobody has become a pure devotee ever in the history without being burnt. So we have to go through the heat of this material existence. Like just like Gaur Gopal Prabhu gives an example of a gulab jamun. First the gulab jamun is fried. How long? Fried. Fried more, it becomes brown. Fried more, it becomes black. It becomes black like charcoal. That much it is fried like kala jamun. And then it is put into the sugar syrup. So before you go into the sugar syrup of pure consciousness and pure absorption and pure divinity, these are all the tests in the oil. Okay. Anyone has any other question? All right. Very grateful, like always, for all of your very wonderful, sincere association. My gratitude and my obeisances to all of you. Vansha kalpa tarubhesha kripa sindhubhe evacha patita nam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare